Hey guys, welcome to NoDQ&A video here on NoDQ.com. I am the owner of NoDQ Aaron Rift. Halloween is over, the decorations are gone, but still got plenty of questions to answer from you guys, so let's get right down into them. Hey Aaron, do you think it's possible that Taker vs HHH at last WrestleMania was his last since it was 20 years since his debut WrestleMania? In my opinion, it should be because I don't see anything being as good unless it's Sting. Please answer in video. As you wish, Your Majesty. Regarding The Undertaker, I don't think it's his last match. I think he's got at least one more WrestleMania match left in him. It doesn't make sense for him to end at 19-0. Let him do the solid 20-0 if he's going to retire anytime soon. And who knows, he might even go on to WrestleMania 30. We'll just have to wait and see. But he's got plenty of guys he can go up against. You got Chris Jericho, you got CM Punk, you got Mick Foley. And if Undertaker keeps going a few more years, you got John Cena, maybe Randy Orton again. So there's still a lot you can do with Undertaker if you put him in there with the right guy. And who knows, maybe even Sting. Never say never, as Justin Bieber would say. Rumors are that Chris Jericho might return to WWE at the Royal Rumble 2012. Would this be a good idea? It would be a nice surprise if Jericho came in as a mystery entrant and won the whole thing. That would be cool. But I'm kind of doubting it. I'm not really sure that he'll be back for WrestleMania this year. I think, if I'm Chris Jericho, I'm going to want to come back when I can make the biggest impact possible. And you already have The Rock at WrestleMania 28 in Miami. So I think Jericho would want to pick his spot better and come back at a time when, he's not going to be overshadowed by someone like The Rock. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit longer before we see Chris Jericho, but never say never. Hey Aaron, what's up? You may have been asked this question before, but in your eyes, what do you think was the greatest SummerSlam ever booked and why? I personally think 2002 was the best SummerSlam ever, with 01 being the second best. Totally agree with you on 2002 being the best SummerSlam. You had Shawn Michaels' big comeback, and that storyline was very well executed. That match was one of the all-time great WWE matches. I loved it. And I still do. The fact that they played up his whole back injury, and every single spot in that match meant something. There was so much drama and psychology in that match. It was really brilliant. I mean, when Triple H did a backbreaker on Shawn Michaels, and the whole crowd, it was a really simple spot, but the crowd was just like oohing and awing because of the whole back issue with Michaels. It was just, I loved it. And that whole card from top to bottom, Kurt Angle and Rey Mysterio, and the main event, Brock Lesnar against The Rock, just best SummerSlam. And my number 2 would probably be 1992 with Bret Hart and the British Bulldog. And 1998, another one at the top of my list with Steve Austin versus Undertaker, great match right there. And then Triple H and The Rock, those two, that was their breakthrough match right there. That was the match that really put both of those guys on the map. So those would be my top 3. What do you think about the Millionaires Club versus New Blood storyline in WCW? Personally, I think it started off strong for the first couple months, but then I guess it just fell apart. I don't really think it started off strong at all. I mean, I've never been a big fan of these veteran versus young guys storylines. I like it better when you just, throw all the guys in there. Don't, when you do this storyline, veterans versus young guys, you're basically saying, you're telling your audience, okay, these guys are stars, these guys are not stars. So, never really liked it. And yeah, that first week that they did it, they got a good rating, but then it just collapsed after that. So I would not call it a success in any way. Hey Aaron, if Sting went to WWE, how would you think Vince Russo would use him? And do you think, or not Vince Russo, Vince McMahon would use him? And do you think WWE should put Sting in the Hall of Fame for his heydays in NWA and WCW? Please answer this on NoDQ&A 60 so I can prove to my boys that you actually read and answer the questions. Well, yes, I do read and answer I read all the questions, and I try to answer as many as possible. I think Vince would use him somewhat well. I know that's been Sting's big concern over the past several years, is that if he went to WWE, they would do the same thing they did with like Scott Steiner and Goldberg and not really use Sting to his full potential. But as I said before, the best way to use him would just to bring him in for one big match and put him in the Hall of Fame. I think that's the way to go with him. But I think they would use him fairly well. And of course he would go in the Hall of Fame. I think that's an obvious scenario right there. It's just a matter of him no longer being with TNA. It's not going to happen until he's finished with TNA. Hey Aaron, what do you think were some of the worst heel turns and face turns in WWE? Personally, I thought that when they made Rikishi heel back in 2000, that was a huge, pun intended, mistake. Worst, yeah, that Rikishi one was pretty bad because I've mentioned this before that it felt like they just picked a name out of a hat and said, okay, this guy's going to be the guy who attacked Austin. There was really no logical reason behind it. And then just a month or two later, they went with Triple H, which was what everyone was expecting all along. And Rikishi was also really hot as a babyface, so they pretty much just took all the wind out of his sails right there. Yeah, that one was pretty bad. The worst one, Steve Austin turning at WrestleMania 17. Just the absolute worst time to turn him heel. I know he felt his character was stale, but the people still wanted to cheer him. They did not want to boo Steve Austin. And it failed. The ratings just plummeted after that heel turn, and they quickly turned him back face again. And then turned him heel again. And then turned him back face again. So, yeah, kind of a mess. What was the worst year for WWE booking, storyline, athlete, and entertainment-wise? Why? Well, I'm sure a lot of people watching this are going to say, oh, 2009, 2010, 2011, but I don't think you can tell me. I would like a good reason why 2010 or 2011 is worse than like 1994, 1995. If you go back and watch those years, WWE was in the shitter, so to speak, when you had guys like literally T.L. Hopper and Mantar and that rock guy with a WWF guitar, I forgot his name. Just, God, that was the worst WWE television ever. And you look back at like the 1995 Royal Rumble, with the exception of Shawn Michaels' big moment, you look at the roster and it's just, I mean, you can't tell me that the roster now is worse than that roster in 1995 with like the Godwins and all, and the DOA and all that. Just really. Right now, I mean, they have a lot of booking problems and storyline problems, but in terms of the athletes and entertainment, I mean, they're doing pretty good. What's up, Aaron? Bischoff noted that, in quote, taking Impact on the road full-time will grow this brand faster than anyone knows. Now is the time, end quote. Do you agree? Your thoughts? Well, TNA definitely needs to get on the road more, but that's not the main issue. The main issue is, as we've said many times before, it's the booking and the character development and all that stuff. But yeah, that is not going to take away the problems in TNA. And obviously, they can go on the road, and if they're drawing 2,000 people, that's still not good. So the key is to get on the road more and also draw more people. And to do that, you need to improve your product. Aaron, what are your thoughts on Dolph Ziggler? I personally think he's one of the best stars in WWE today. I think Dolph Ziggler has a ton of potential, but as good old JR would say, you can't make a living on potential. I think he's improved a lot. You know, if you look back at him during the Spirit Squad and look at him now, he's come a long way, and I think he still has his best days ahead of him. I just hope that they're not going to keep putting him in segments with Muppets where he's talking to Muppets. That was... I don't think that was very good for Dolph Ziggler, especially if he's a future star, to put him in like a comedy segment. You know, it's fine when Santino's in it, but I would have kept Dolph Ziggler out of that. But yeah, I mean, he's really good, and the crowd. You know, I went to SummerSlam 2009, and the people were really behind him. His match with Rey Mysterio, the Let's Go Ziggler, people were into him, and maybe he should be in a better spot right now, but who knows? But I think we'll definitely see more of him, you know, and he could be a main eventer in the years to come. We'll just have to wait and see. All right, that about does it for NoDQ&A video here on NoDQ.com. Submit a comment, YouTube.com/NoDQCW. Please subscribe, please spread the word, and we'll see you next time.